Good evening, Pomare Whakalawalahi Autu. Welcome to the Daily Examiner. My name is Eliki Lei. Welcome. It's really great to have you on board with us. We are here to chat about the fact that it's actually our birthday. So we've been in the game for about a year. Woo, not too bad. And a lot of comments have been coming out. Oh, okay, you guys put up some good stuff, but hey, who are you? What's going on? So we want to bring in our team, the team who's bringing you what you have been reading and enjoying. We love it all. So bringing on first and foremost is Mel Taylor. Mel Taylor, good evening.
Hi, how are you? Welcome, everyone.
Good. Oh, awesome. I don't know. I'll speak for them and I'll say, hey, they're doing well.
Doing well.
All right.
Awesome.
Awesome. And next up, we've got Victoria O'Brien. Victoria, how are you?
Hello.
Awesome. There's Victoria. Then, of course, we've got Dave. Hey, Dave, how's it?
Evening, team. Good to be here. Good to see you guys again.
Oh, wicked. Very, very cool. And last but not least, Liao Tilsley. Liao, whakalawau.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. Nice to see
awesome.
you guys.
Very, very cool. So just for a little bit of housekeeping, if you want to make a discussion point, if you want to bring anything in, absolutely, just have a chat, bring it in, and we'll do our best to have a discussion about what it is. All right, so that's what we like to do. We love to have a bit of participation. We like to discuss. We love to have that talanoa, that korero, whatever word you want to use. We love it. It's really, really awesome. So tonight, team, we're here to discuss some of the awesome things that have gone on. We are very honoured to have been a part of this journey, and it's something that we've been probably a part of since October, no doubt. So I'm going to throw it over to someone about our journey, where we started from, and things like that. So let's see. Mel, you want to start us off? You want to kick us off in terms of where we came from? Why is this place even up and running? Hey, why are we annoying so many lefty people?
Oh, gee, so sad. I think, well, you may notice that quite a lot of us were connected in certain political parties on the conservative side of things. So most of us have known each other for quite a while. And after politics, you just notice that there's this absolute need for media that is unbiased and unfunded by the government. And that was us. That was our passion. So it's been a journey. We've had other people come along and help out. And I guess the original idea was to be a voice for the voiceless. There are some really amazing lobby groups and parties and all sorts of people out there, and the mainstream media will never pick them up. And that's what we wanted, to be a voice for them. So yeah.
Well said. Very good. So I'll take up the bat from there. In terms of what occurred at that point, there was a group of us. We did get together. It was decided that, in terms of the election, the conservative ideals, the ideals of truth and accuracy, being straight up, taking accountability, the values of family, the values of the Western civilization being the greatest, conservatism, that the ideals were not being put out there, because your average New Zealander, they work from 7 to 6 o'clock, then they get home, they've got to look after the kids, they've got to have the showers, they've got to be with the family, they've got to do their little bits, and in between them are little slivers of area where they're able to gain knowledge of the world. And of course what we found was that the mainstream media, the New Zealand mainstream media, very strongly either left-leaning or strongly or far left-leaning, they are very much focused upon governments, the current government sort of narrative, very much wokeism, very much racism sort of based areas, and so we needed to have a balanced voice out there, and so we stepped up, a bit scary, pretty scary, and we decided to start bringing out from our networks and our resources, as well as taking off from the area information that was out there in the field. So I'll put it on to one of the other team members just to sort of see if they can put in what their view is on the journey and how they've been going forward. I'm going to throw someone on the spot. Oh, Victoria O'Brien. So good to see you there. What sort of part do you think? What part do you have in there?
Elliot. You and I both know the reason that you actually started this was that you just wanted to post, just do shit posting and memes and that sort of thing. And most important, you actually wanted to just poke the bear and say all this stuff and then go, "Ooh, I wonder what people will say." And I mean, okay, I have to be honest. That's also why I did it. So you asked me to join this, and I thought, great, this is an excellent suggestion, because now we're going to have the opportunity to put stuff out there that nobody wants to really write, because they're not being, they're all being funded by the government. And here it is, why is the stuff that we're reading on overseas media or independent journalists just simply not written about? What about if we write this, put up this this extra cartoon that someone else has put up, that, someone else elsewhere that just been buried, and see what the reaction is, because we can, because this is now our little thing, and it's a media page. And yes, for a while it was like shouting into the void. But then, it's just, then you see all these, everybody of like mind just come on and go, "Oh, you're saying exactly what I wanted to know. How did you find that out?" Go, "Shh, yeah, big secrets."
Yep, well said.
But yeah, it's been an awesome journey. It's just been so much fun, and just seeing the whole page blossom, the website grow. It's just been fantastic. And I really have to thank, of course, Dave behind the scenes, quietly fixing all these things that go wrong, updating, our site and putting new things in. Thank you very much.
Yep, absolutely well said. So let's pop over to Dave. Dave, in terms of what you've seen, what you've been a part of, you were actually, oh my gosh, I remember actually one of the big ones, which was that live. Tell us, how have you found the journey? By the way, for all of our people out there, Dave is the man behind the scenes. So that engine, all the little bits, the things that look cool, they come from this guy here, Mr. Beard Guy. It's very, very awesome. So we love it. So Dave, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I think the core of the Daily Examiner is what you just mentioned before, was that that live that you just mentioned, which I think was the first or the second day that we existed as an organization. And I think you rang me up about 12 in the afternoon, and you're like, "Oh, hey, the sovereign tribes, or United Sovereign Tribes, are trying to breach the Auckland border." This was when the lockdown border was on. Do you want to report on it? I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sweet." And I think both of us had been at work all day. And this was the first day that we'd been like literally running, and we shot down there, and we both ended up at different BPs, and we're trying to figure out where we were. And that's not the only time it happened. It happened again. But that's the core of who we are. And we were there till probably like 3 a.m, and that was like sort of our foundation and where we started. We started introducing ourselves to people, and we drove down to that border at Mercer, and the Defence Force were there, and they're like, "Oh, who are you? What do you can't go past here?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm media trying to report on the protests." And they're like, "Oh, which media company do you work for?" "Oh, I don't know. We started yesterday." But they were kind enough to let us through. So there were some good people there, even though we disagree with what they were doing, but there were still good people there. And I think for me, that's the highlight of our whole organization, is that we are just regular people. Like Elliot, you work in safety training, I work in the church. We're two completely different people, but we both care about our country. I guess is what drives us to this. And just like you say, you don't see me very much, but it's cool to be able to sit behind the scenes and just watch it grow. Way more than we ever expected. So yeah, that's me.
And I actually want to point out there that Dave, on that fateful night when we went up to the Mercer checkpoint, when we were stopped by the police and the Defence Force, when we finally got around there, we parked up and we started to just do lives. And Dave sort of ended up just being plopped in front of the camera. And he did it so well, and he was, not only that, he ended up having a bit of a chat with, was it the Herald? Herald or Stuff or one of their camera people. All right, and you could tell that this guy was really trying to sort of peel knowledge from us of what we already knew, because we are thankful that we are trusted by a lot of the groups out there, because we don't spill guts and all that sort of thing. Not only that, David was the guy. Dave went straight up to the police force, and he was the one who went straight up and had a discussion with the police chief at that time, the one who was in charge of the operations of the whole scenario. And the great thing was that the police, the guy running the show, actually spoke to Dave. It was very excellent, and he was able to get some great footage and great clarity and transparency as well. And that isn't it was, because the other group did not. The mainstream media was not that interested in it. What they were interested in was the protesters and any sort of anger or racism or any sort of violence that they could sort of be a part of. They weren't concerned with what was happening at the border. Dave didn't care. He was just going straight up there and had a straight chat with him. That was great fun. Great fun on that night. It was awesome. And he's absolutely right. We were there until 3 a.m.
Good times, good times.
Oh, yeah, great fun. Absolutely.
And the funny thing about that night was, after we spoke to the Herald, and like I say, we'd been existing for about a day, we're reading the Herald articles, and they're like literally direct quotes of what we'd said to them or what they're taken from our articles. That was honestly
was
beautiful. That was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That was a great time. That was hilarious. Yeah, exactly what Dave was sort of saying is that the Herald did use so many different quotes from Dave's spiel and discussion points. All right, again, really, really good. All right,
that was only the first time they ever did that, because after that was like very strongly Liao. I mean, like amazing. Getting quoted basically, and all these shots of the stuff that Liao was doing, and some of it tried to be sneakily cropped and not attributed.
That's right.
It must have been so embarrassing. It's like, who are these guys? Daily Examiner. Who? What? Huh? Yeah.
So Liao, what about you? How have you found the journey so far? What are some things of note that you've been sort of thinking about?
I have absolutely enjoyed being a part of this team. I love the permission to be able to, use our giftings. Each of us have different things that we do really well. Some are just learning. And to be fair, it was from Talanoa Sa'o where we started to do interviews that it gave me the confidence, to actually start pursuing, media as we were so frustrated, especially, in February, which is what was a big part of us launching into, who was the Daily Examiner, where have you come from, to actually speak truth into things that came up every day. And I just remember, especially in February, always tapping back to you guys and saying, what else has the media said that are lies that I can, walk around Parliament and bring truth into it. And I think that's what people, both myself, John, and when Mel came down, we were able to address a lot of those issues. And I think for us, it was a big launch into who are these people? They seem to be doing lives every day. And, I think one of the highlights would have to be Sir Russell Coutts, but we can come back to that story. It was actually really hilarious.
Oh, there we go.
Oh my gosh! I'd like to interview Russell Coutts, so I'll just message him, and then I'm going to meet him down at the protest, and it's on, and we're like, wow, okay, you go, girl.
Yeah, I had actually started messaging him in October. Would you believe it? When because his first article came out in October, so I messaged him and I said, hey, thank you for standing up for the people. He obviously completely ignored me. And then again, he wrote another article in December. So I did the same thing. I just said, hey, just want to say thank you for your voice. And then again, I think one more in January, I think it might have been 2 or 3 articles. And then finally in February, I was just like, so Russell, I heard you're coming down to Wellington, like we were friends or something. I was like, do you mind if I interview you? Liao again from the Daily Examiner. And he literally replied straight away and said, yep, let's do the interview. And I had no idea, because straight after that, I was bombarded with media, mainstream media, who was like, there was a connection, wanting me to get Russell Kurtz's phone number so that they could interview him too. And he didn't want to have an interview with anybody. So to be able to actually get it with a grumpy vegan was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely right. And so that was actually something which was a powerful mode. And yes, I believe that the Herald and Stuff actually referred to Russell Coutts as he was speaking, but those were quotes directly taken from Liao's video with Sir Russell Coutts. Again, it was another hilarious sort of mode with it. I do have a bit of an issue with one of our commentators here. All right, Guinea's spoken there. Lynn Warren used to sketch on my planner, Friday 8-ish. See, what are you talking about? That's 8 sharp. I'm not sure what you're referring to there.
You know what? That's so right.
Well, I have to say, look, that's right. We do have to sometimes fluctuate a little bit there. All right. I think Fuyava Liliala Lima has a part to play in that because he's not here. Therefore, that's where that sort of goes. All right, but and it has to be real. It has to be said that we love the fact that you out there, our audience, is actually a part of it. We were so strong. We wanted to make sure that you were part of it, whether you agreed and disagreed, and that's one of the great things that we had in there. I also think, and I'm thinking too, that we also had some other parts there that were firsts as well. Victoria, for example, Victoria O'Brien, she was the one who brought up the first angles. Now, there was a source involved, but it was Victoria who was the first one in media to sort of bring something up. Victoria, would you be able to say anything about what we might be talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking about. So,
I thought I'd just chuck it in there, you know.
Something about husband? No, sorry. Okay.
Oh, whoa, wow. I wasn't gonna go there. I was gonna just innuendo it.
I cannot take credit for the word of the year. Everyone remember husband, right?
Husband.
I absolutely cannot take credit for that because that was actually somebody on Twitter that I follow who coined that term. It's incredibly New Zealand. So,
very New Zealand.
Yeah, it's very New Zealand. And all credit to the Twitter profile Thomas Cranmer, who in fact broke the story. He is behind the scenes. He has stayed with it. He's persisted with it. He's actually developed a Substack as well, where he has continued to put out a lot of this stuff. Amazing background research, and it's not just him. In fact, there are other people who are also doing the same research, including people who with inside knowledge, and they know exactly what to ask. They've gone through official channels, and this is how the OIA requests have come about. Obviously, the opposition MPs, in particular Simeon Brown, has taken this and run with it. We need this sort of thing to be brought out. It's unpleasant. It is a sad fact about New Zealand politics. It's probably because New Zealand is, 2 degrees of separation, right? Everybody knows everyone. But because of that, we really have a responsibility to be a bit more strict, probably, about managing conflicts of interest, or even appearances of conflicts of interest, which is in fact what is required by the cabinet manual. But yes, it was fun times speaking with the source and having them explain all the stuff that's going on. And there is a moment of incredulity where you just go, no, this can't be real. It surely not, but it is. Probably one of the highlights of the feedback that came back was someone calling me sanctimonious, and I thought, yes, this is it. I'll add it to all the names that I've been called, which is, I think it's racist, misogynist, and I'm now sanctimonious. Excellent.
No, sanctimonious. That's an upper level one. Well done.
I know, right? Yeah, you've got to manage those conflicts of interest. So I'm sanctimonious. Cool.
And so what that was absolutely right is that the Kramer profile was the one to burst it out there. Victoria was the first one, and we're very proud and humbled to have been the first media outlet to actually display the news. Then the platform took it on, spread that out, and then the mainstream media started to spurt that. Or I think actually was that when Simeon Brown and a couple of the many months later, and Victoria was just pumping these articles out. As Kramer was able to source information, Victoria was bringing them out, and that was actually seeping out. And I will point out, this was also when I noticed that more and more journalists were actually starting to attach to our Twitter profile. We've actually got every single, if you look through our Twitter profile, it's a who's who of quote-unquote journalism in New Zealand. Right, they have all attached, and it's interesting, but I looked at the numbers and when it happened, and it did happen during those times where Victoria was putting through all of those Mahuta Empire, the dynasty, the Cusman sort of myriad media outlets going on there. Right, so that's what it put out. The platform, I think, finally found out that they were starting to fall behind a little bit. They chucked it up, and then we had the politicians, and only then were the media there. It was also noticeable that RNZ and the Herald appeared to take a softer narrative by sort of saying, well, look, this is what's happened, but this was explained, boom, that's done, dusted, let's get rid of it. And I think what they were hoping for was that we would shut up, which of course, no, we didn't. Victoria kept on going, Kramer kept on going, and it's just kept on rolling forward. So that degree of nepotism, well, what I would regard as nepotism and absolute favouring of the family, the dynasty, is there. And some of it's quite chilling. If you read some of what Victoria's written, it's quite chilling. And I don't know whether we can actually pull it back. Can the next government pull it back? I don't know. Victoria, what is the current status anyway that you know of?
Well, information still keeps coming out. I think there is supposed to be a formal inquiry into it, but it might very well be headed by people who, shall we say, are rather very friendly with the parties involved. So I don't know if anything's going to come of it. But more than anything, I think as a group, we've all tried to keep certain issues alive in the public eye. One of the things I've noticed is that in the last few years, there's been so many things that come out, issue after issue after issue. Before you can even understand the latest, shall we say, controversial law change, it seems that 2 days later, another one comes out. And every other day, it seems like we're being asked to actually put in a submission to yet another select committee on yet another really important bit of legislation. Well, this is mind-blowing stuff because, like you said before, Elliot, most of us work, and from 7 o'clock in the morning to 6 p.m. at night, and we've got family commitments. We try to do some sport, and just normal downtime. Who's got the time to really keep an eye on what's going on? And that's I think been one of the driving forces behind this media outlet, which is trying to keep certain issues in the public eye. Just because it's not new anymore doesn't mean it doesn't exist or it's not important or you can forget about it. It's actually really important.
Absolutely. Oh, well said. So far we've discussed, at Mercer we were the only ones to really go up and look at both sides of the story, and that was done live, that we made sure we were checking that one. We've got Liao, who was the only media that we were the only ones able to get Russell Cootes on the video and have a chit-chat with him. We've got Mahuta. We're very proud of the fact that we've been able to be one of, if not the first media outlet to actually display the Mahuta nepotism. Again, that's what I believe is absolute nepotism, absolute corruption. That's what I think. And we've got those areas there. Liao, now the man is not here with us. That's okay. Could you please tell us something else that we were able to expose to the public that even got the attention of the Prime Minister and especially the Prime Minister's father?
Yeah, so in Tukalau, they mandated the island even though there was no COVID on the island. And so that first came to light with Fuyave and his connection with some of them who had been locked down in Nukunono and one other place, I forgot it. But they were in lockdown for over 9 months. And so when we heard of this, we decided to start just putting it out there, because what can you do when you're in atolls and there was nobody else sort of, being there on behalf of, those who can't speak. The internet could go down. They had complete power over these poor families who were locked down, weren't able to go out. Families had to bring food to them. They One of the biggest things I wanted to note is they were New Zealand citizens, and so that was quite disturbing to also find that Ross Ardern was the administrator over Tokelau. So for us to be part and parcel of their journey, now they're all free now, which has been nearly a year of our discussions and our work with Pastor Danny and Sarah, who were in Australia, them allowing and letting us know what was happening. Also, some lawyers got involved, and so there's a bigger group of people that were part of this. But to be able to be, the spearheads to this was an incredible privilege, and something that the Daily Examiner team should be very proud of.
Well said, well said. And so, as you mentioned, the current access, I believe that the Taupulenga, who are the elders or the governance structure of Tokelau, they have released everyone, or is everyone about to be released?
No, I think all of them have been released. So they were on one of the atolls. The Tapulinga actually apologized to them. I'm not sure about the other one.
Yes, that's right, and I do recall seeing how the Taupulenga actually apologised. It was a good apology. It was a right apology. I think it was a really good. It was done with a good heart. It was done really, really well. And what was interesting is that you've got to understand that these people were held under a what you might call it a true lockdown. The families were encouraged to not bring food. They were excluded, truly excluded from the society around them. They were physically and also socially ostracized from the community. And the letters, and we were able to give the letters out in our articles to show that the Taupulenga were pretty straight up when they said, it's disappointing, take the Pfizer, take it. All right, and then everything goes back to normal. It was quite shocking, and so when Fuyave was able to get those emails out to Ross Ardern and to Jacinda Ardern, suddenly Ross Ardern had a talk with them, and then they started to soften it, and then there was an attack on New Zealand media that they sort of stated, and of course we went straight back and we directly went straight to tried to go to the Tapulenga. We managed to talk right to the New Zealand manager as well and ask strong questions about why, what's going on, because these people are in there. Why are you locking down people in Tokelau when they're not going anywhere? They're staying there. They don't have it. What's going on there? So it was just really awesome to be a part of and to be just bringing the awareness to people. I think it was just a really powerful thing to see. So we are hoping. And a couple of questions that have come up before is the idea around citizenship. Yes, they are technically New Zealand citizens, but their rights under the Bill of Rights do not exist. It only kicks into play when they enter New Zealand. That's the only time, which I find odd, because they are New Zealand citizens. They use the same dollars, passport, everything else is the same. Yet the Bill of Rights does not extend to them, and I think that's quite shocking. Anyway,
can I just want to give a little bit of credit to Liz Gunn and also Chantal Baker, who was able to jump on board as well and interview it. We grew in the alternate media side when we actually gave them a voice. And it was good that we were all able to work collectively together to be able to to bring their voices to the forefront. I think that a few leaders in New Zealand could learn a lot from the forgiveness of the Pulinga, because we had a ifunga earlier this year by a certain another
Leo,
RD.
do you just want to explain the ifongo and what that is, just to our peeps who might not know?
Yeah, so the dawn raids happened, and New Zealand wanted to ask for forgiveness for it, because so many of our people were wronged from the Pacific Islands, especially Samoa. So the ifunga is maybe one of the highest sort of tradition of forgiveness, of being able to say, we were wrong about this. And so, from what I've heard of the ifunga, very, very rarely is it ever done. And what happened was, there was a government initiative started by Labour, but also National was a part of it. So when you go to ask for forgiveness, it needs to be the whole government, not just one. And we had one particular leader, who I won't mention her name, walked down by herself, sat in that place. And for me to watch this and watch my Pacific Island people crying over this, I all I could do was shake my head and think, well, actually, it should have been her father, who was actually part of the dawn raids as a police officer. It should have been him in that place asking for forgiveness. That would have made much more sense than what happened on and transpired on that day. And within a week or two, we were all locked down. So just incredible to say, hey, forgive us, but we're just about to lock you all down. It's the timing of it, and now go and get jabbed.
Yep. Well said. Well said. So we're very proud. We've also been at the forefront, and we don't. I don't want to. It sounds like I'm sort of beefing us up, and I think maybe I am. I think I am. I'm extraordinarily proud just from the team, because we've been able to get out there. When it's to gender ideology, you'll notice that a lot of the media don't even want to touch that. We're happy to dive straight in and actually bring up some of the issues that have gone on. We're also really happy about being able to bring on other ones. So, for example, I'll bring one up here as an example. That we love to bring on other teams and other people who are doing some great sort of content or all that sort of good stuff there. This here, as an example, this here is what lies beneath the disinformation project. It's not ours, but we wanted to make sure that the person who had a good sort of platform. And so this is C. McCoy. C. McCoy does some wonderful videos, does a lot of work around them and behind them. Okay, and we'd love to make sure that that we credit people with it. We want to make sure that we are a crew who support other independent media being able to come up and engage. And I think that's also something which is really, really awesome. So, C. McCoy, he had a look at the disinformation project. Mel.
Oh, sorry. No, you continue with this one, and then I'll...
So, C. McCoy looked at the disinformation project. He looked very much also at the people who run the disinformation project. And honestly, just by using their data, using their videos, he showed very clearly that they're quite... Okay, I was going to say nuts, but maybe nuts is not good for decorum. Very strongly attuned to a left ideology, very strongly attuned to it. It's quite shocking too, because they won't go off at BLM, they won't go off at Black Lives Matter, even though Black Lives Matter has always been a hate group, and of course Candace Owens has destroyed any shred of accuracy to them that they had left. But they'll go after conservatives, libertarians, they'll go after anyone who questions, not as against, but questions that government narrative. Really fascinating. So sorry, Mel, go for it.
No, I think for me, one of the really interesting things, you talk about disinformation, and it's usually the conservative type people that are disinformation. It's, we're getting blamed for it from the left. But things were a little bit different down at the Freedom Village. And we had the pleasure of being able to interview the guy that was accused of being the undercover cop, and he went through
Yes.
tons and tons of hate, and his family went to hell and back. It was a real rough time for him. So it was actually really cool to be able to interview him and get his story straight. And it was really funny watching, I guess, seeing all the comments, because a lot of people were absolutely sure he was undercover. And we had to go through the whole process in the interview. And it was really cool to be a part of that. And then I think it might have been the next day or two, we see these pictures, and it's from mainstream media, and it's pretty much a screenshot of our interview. Yeah, really interesting. But no, that was cool.
Yeah. Like I said, it's not the first time, right, that we've had our information or our product poached. And most interesting is that it's usually, or in fact, is it ever attributed? I'm not sure, Elliot.
They have attributed us a few times, and I say a few as in maybe 3 or 4 times. The other times, no, not at all. They'll use I think it's alternate something or other. Alternate. I don't know. They don't use alternate media, but they use a different name
Fringe.
for that.
Fringe.
Yeah.
Yeah, the word fringe.
Fringe.
You know.
They could use fringe. They could use fringe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so absolutely, yeah, you're totally right. That was actually a great interview because, yeah, of course, at the start, the comments were very strong, and like you say, Mel, comments were, "Yep, this guy's in charge. I saw him. I'm sure he was yada yada." But by the end, there were, and these are good people whose mind they realized that they were inaccurate, and they apologized in front of everyone, and they said, "Sorry, I'm one of them. I believe that he was, and no, he's not. I'm really, really sorry." And discourse, free speech, being able to talk and challenge ideas. You know, that's what it's always been about. That's what the big stuff is about. It's what I've always loved about what we've got going on.
Well, I mean, that's the key thing, isn't it? It's that fine line where this is what journalism used to be, where you present the facts and you go after what is, well, you'd hope the truth. Because there are many facets to it. We may not uncover all of them, but at least you try to uncover the facts and try to at least listen so that you can present something that, you know, everybody thought was true. And then you go, well, no, these are the actual facts. Is it true or not? And so people actually realize it's a fine line between advocacy or activism and actual journalism. And it's a difficult one to tread, especially, you know, when we've all got our own biases, but we try.
Yeah, well said. And that's absolutely right. We do. We do have our biases, and we sort of say that. We say we're quite biased on certain things. It's one of the great things, and that's why also for our audience out there, we love when you guys do agree and disagree with us. It's always great fun. I know some of you here were at our wonderful little chit chat that we had on Friday when it got fiery. I don't know why it got fiery. It was, you know, it's Jacinda doing evil. Are you
really going to bring that up, Elliot?
Oh no! Look, Liao's getting triggered over there.
Have you not learnt anything?
See, this is what I mean, right? It's that fine line, Elliot, you know.
That was good times. I will also say, Dave, you saw, what were some things, now I know you weren't a part of this, but you did witness some of the things that we were writing on. What were some of the articles that you saw going on in terms of the lockdowns and with some of the churches that we had out there? And I'm asking you only because you're sort of involved in the church sort of side of things. And we did hear that some material was going to a lot of the upper management of some of the bigger churches. Do you know anything about that? What's your take on that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, coming from a church perspective, where obviously working in ministry, our heart is always to reach everyone, regardless of whatever their status is. And the core tenet of our belief is that the gospel message is for everyone. And what we saw, which I found was very disappointing from a couple of the major churches in New Zealand, was that they actually designed that core tenet of the faith by saying, no, we're not going to accept unvaccinated people in our service. And that was probably of of all the things that we saw over the past 2 years, as much as the government's behaviour has been disappointing, as much as experts' behaviour has been disappointing, the most disappointing thing for me was to see the reaction of some of the churches. And I believe that most of the churches, including the one that I'm fortunate to be a part of, had a great response where they took no official stance on vaccine status and said, we want to welcome everyone. But to the few who did say, no, we're only going to accept vaccinated people, incredibly disappointing and a complete breach of the message and the purpose of the gospel, I think. In saying that, we did publish some articles from ourselves and from also some of our other writers who have asked to remain anonymous regarding this, and it did have an effect. We've heard fairly widely through some channels that it did get quite high up. We were contacted by some angry journalists who were involved with the churches. That was fun.
Yep.
These are mainstream media journalists as well. But the funny thing is that I have seen the effect, and I'm not going to go into detail here because it would be inappropriate, but the churches that implemented those policies have directly suffered as a result of that. I'm not going to go into any more detail, but it is very telling what happened there.
Yeah, fair enough. And that's actually some of the really painful stuff is that these things need to be brought out to the light, and from a Christian angle, they need to be brought out to the light and really challenged and confronted and discussed. So I think
there was an article that I think was a republish of an excellent, I think it was an independent publisher, was a Substack article, and that was entitled "The Morality of the Death Lottery." That is, I keep going back to that article when people say, "Oh, but this saved so many lives." But then it's whether or not one agrees or disagrees, whatever one thinks about the efficacy of the vaccines. The fact remains that people, and more people than have ever been, many people have been injured, and then that's what, or died, and that's really the critical thing, right? It's a death lottery, and so mandating something like this, where there is a chance of a significantly bad effect. I mean, how moral is that? And then, as you say, Dave, then putting that against your Christian faith, how does that match up? And I totally see. I'm not religious, and as you guys know, but it becomes then a moral issue for everyone, surely.
Yeah.
And it's a direct parallel to what we see, the story in the gospel. It was a complete direct parallel to the story of the 10 lepers. Society today, 90% of society treated the unvaccinated like the society in biblical times treated lepers. Whereas Jesus himself, right, made the effort to go to lepers and include them when the rest of society tried to exclude them. And I have to ask myself and ask church leaders, have you learned nothing from that? Have you learned nothing that Jesus and the role of Jesus and the gospel, and we claim to follow him, is literally to seek out those people who society have chosen to exclude based on a medical status? And in my opinion, they're the people who are down and out, people who are sick or have been excluded because of medical, to need the gospel the most, and yet certain churches chose to go directly against that. Yeah, unbelievable. But I hope that we've learned from it. That's the, I guess, what our focus is as a group. As much as we put up the hard word, we want people to learn. We want to educate people. We want people to grow, and we don't want it to happen again. So if anything has come from this whole 2 years, is that we've learned to be better people and learn to love each other more. And I really hope that that's what our platform can do, regardless of belief.
It's important to get the information out there that nobody wants to touch, right?
Yeah, but that's come at a cost. For us as well. Elliot's been thrown off Facebook a few times for posting articles that are, vaccine related. We have noticed, because you don't know exactly when you're being shadow banned or something's going on social media, but there has been some stuff, especially about a month ago. There were quite a lot of changes and we were like, what is going on? So we do think social media is working quite against us. Hence, just really want to encourage you guys to check out the website, because that's always updated and it's more reliable than social media, sadly.
Well said. I think for myself, I think it has been just a really wonderful journey. As Victoria mentioned before, that we're all workers, and we work, and it's great. We love working, but we're also quite passionate about fixing things. The fact is, and of course, we're all connected because of our particular political party that we did belong to, and we got owned, we got destroyed in that, we got wasted, annihilated. And the sad thing is that everything that we said was going to happen did happen. All of the pain and the struggle that we said was going to occur in the way that it was going to occur did happen. The children are being now admitted to that they're being indoctrinated, that they are admitted to that they're being pushed on this gender ideology. We have seen the cutting down of democratic processes such as the Select Committee. We have watched as racism is now becoming a bit of an apartheid with the health system and the education system, and of course extensions and expansions on the power levels. We said all that, and it, I suppose in a way it hurt, because we love our nation. I think we're quite patriotic. I think we have a sentimental love for New Zealand, and it's something where we just want our people to know what's going on, rather than having the taxpayer funded ones, and especially with the up and coming merger between RNZ and TVNZ. Those are both of them get taxpayer funding. One is purely taxpayer funded, and the other one is heavily sponsored by taxpayer funds. So they are both state broadcasters, and they're going to be chucked in one massive hit. And it's extraordinary that this has even been thought of as acceptable. And they're going to get over $100 million. The last notice that we had was over $100 million of your money every single year will go to them. So they'll have their own, there's a little fund that they've got, there's a little stream that they've got, but over $100 million every single year out of your pockets and the pockets of your children is going to go to them every year. And it's utterly disgusting. It really is. That's
why we just want to grow and do as much as we can. We have conversations during the day and it's like, I wish I could be doing this full time. That would be really, really awesome. Honestly, again, please go to the website. We don't know how much longer, www.dailyexaminer.co.nz, we don't know how much longer we'll be allowed on social media. These laws coming out left, right and centre. So please do. And we all work. We're all... we fund this pretty much ourselves and from some wonderful people that have given some donations. So, all welcome.
Sorry, Mel, what was the address again? What was that
Daily
address that you mentioned? Sorry. What? Oh, really? I thought you said something else.
No, I did not. I don't need
www.
No banter ever goes on here.
Anyway. Hey, but it has been.
I was for a flag.
Yeah, that's awesome. But Mel's absolutely right. We do. We jump onto our website. We've made it for you. It is information that really is for you. It is there to get things done. We got no problem. We'll just carry on doing this. We love it. We love bringing you the knowledge. We've already had the ability to change things within our political environment, and we're a bunch of volunteers in a little media organisation. We're incredibly proud of being able to do that, and that happens also because you have been sharing it and bringing this stuff out there. The website's a big one. If you can jump onto that website, that is a big one. All right, and we've got a few plans. We've got Patreon coming up. We've got those already in place. We were hooked up to PayPal. We've actually taken it off for some reasons that some of you may know. Teams because of their political leanings now, so we're going to have to find somewhere else. But we will be on Patreon. We have got the website. We're on YouTube. We're on Gab, on Getter. We are about to be on Rumble and also BitChute. And we're also on Telegram as well. We're on Telegram, so we're on all of those places. All right, and of course, if you feel led to, please go to our website, donate to the page. I can tell you, all of the money that gets donated goes straight into making our show bigger and better. This platform that you're on, sitting on right now, comes directly from that. So all of that sort of stuff comes on it. But look, we love what we're doing. Maybe if we do a bit of round robin for a last spin up before we leave our good people over there. So Liao, do you want to go first for just a last little bit there?
Yeah, actually, it's been an amazing journey, and I think the beginning of many. And Talon Osa has been going for a little while now, and we've really loved the people that have joined us on a Friday night when Elliot can be there on time. Other than that, it's been fantastic being part of this, and we'll continue to try and be there for you, and hopefully one day. He will be on time. In fact, if we can do it on time,
Wow.
would you guys donate to that?
It's because I'm Māori.
Race card today, eh? Anyway, I just want to say thank you so much for all of your support. It's been so encouraging, and it helps us to really do what we, each of us do well. So, yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Awesome. Dave?
People follow the loudest noise, and we're a group of people who, in the grand scheme of things, we're basically nobodies, but what we're doing here is making noise, and it's been effective. As we've talked about tonight, we've exposed things which have gotten attention up to the highest level, and that's not because of us, it's just because we shout loud. So, and it's all thanks to you guys. I was looking at some statistics today. We've reached over 1.6 million people in the last year, just on social media alone. That's not to mention the hundreds of thousands on the website as well. So, guys, thank you for supporting us. Help us keep making noise. And, it's often the people with the worst opinions that make the most noise. We're trying to be the ones with the good opinions who make noise. And we can make change. It's not all hopeless. Thank you for your support.
Victoria?
Yeah, well, it's been a most interesting year. I've been very privileged to have been passed information, which I then try to publish. Thank you very much to all the people who have trusted us with their confidential information and to keep their identity secure. We try very hard to provide that voice for everyone. And without people being willing to speak up, basically we are all silenced. So bring your stories forward. We will publish them and keep your identities secure and confidential should you wish to have that. And of course, anytime you want to have your identities out there, you want to be a whistleblower, we're there to support you as well. And it's really about, I think Mel said it. It's to give a voice for the people who are just simply being walked over. So we hope to continue doing that.
Well said. Mel?
Oh, I just really want to thank our team. You guys are just amazing. We have heaps of fun. We give each other heaps of, give each other heaps. We actually agree to disagree on things, believe it or not, and we still all get on. I want to thank everyone that hangs in there on a Friday night waiting for it to finally start. You guys are awesome.
Oh, wow.
It's been an amazing year. I had the privilege of getting to go down to the Freedom Village and meet some incredible people. We've done some amazing interviews. It's just, it's really, really awesome. We just want to do so much more. But thank you to everyone that's gotten involved, that, shares all our posts and our articles, their comments. We really appreciate you guys.
Oh, well said, well said. So I guess I'll be the last one after everyone's already kicked me while I've been down. Hey. Just want to point out a very strong, one of my favourite characters of all time has said that a wizard is never late. A wizard is always on time, whatever time that wizard gets in there. So just please keep that in mind, all right? And I'm not talking about Rings of Power. Don't bring that trash up. It's only the Lord of the Rings. Sorry. So yeah, for my stuff, I want to again say thank you so much for our team. Our team are off the hook. For you out there. Our team members really are experts in their field. They really are. I've been able to watch them, and it's been an absolute privilege to see them engaging. And thank you so much for those who have trusted us. Like Victoria was sort of saying, that it's been wonderful to be trusted, and we do not release any of those details. And I can tell you, we've had a couple of senior journalists really poking their nose in, wanting to know more. All right, we've had far-left activists actually attacking us online and on their own Substacks, trying to get us. And it hasn't worked. None of it's worked. All right, and a lot of it's because we've been able to trust each other. It's been really awesome and has been really fun. We want to thank all of you also who have met us one-on-one and said, hey, aren't you that one from it's been great. We love meeting you live as well. It's been so awesome. But this journey, great journey, wonderful journey, and I think it's been a real fun one, and it feels good. I think it feels good because we're doing it for the good of the country. We're doing it because it's the truth, and I think the truth makes it easier to have fun. I have in my earlier times when I was a liar, when I was much younger and I was a deceitful person, then it was always harder to really enjoy yourself, because you knew you had to keep in mind a particular hidden aspect or a storyline or a plot line that you had to remember was kept up for the lie. But we have so much fun, and why? Because we're just straight up. It's easier to speak truthfully, and then you can have fun with that. So really good. I can see something in there. Hens Poo, are you all finished for there? No.
Hell no.
But it's our birthday. It's our birthday. So we've got to eat coffee cake.
We're going to be here. Hopefully we'll be here for years. And if we end up in jail because of all of these free speech laws, come visit.
Yeah. Yes, that's quite true. And look, and you know what? Well, Mel saying that, we were the ones to also bring up Graham Taylor. Is it Philip Graham? Philip Graham. We brought up Graham Phillip. So we brought up Graham Phillip, and then the media started jumping. It's quite shocking how disgusting they are. But that's fine. That's why we're here, and that's what we're needed for, and that's what we're happy to do. So on behalf of all of us, to all of you out there, thank you so much for being a part of this as well. This is also your journey as well. We thank you, and we'd like to say God bless you, and God bless New Zealand. We'll see you real soon.
Good night.